Welcome to the Collectible Show. My name is LaPedis. I'll be your host tonight. Tonight we talk all about any kind of collectible you ever think of. And tonight we have coins. We have Gary Farnsworth with us from All Seas Collectible from Aurora, Colorado. Thank you very much for being on with us, Gary.
Well, thank you, Aaron.
You know, when I had a chance to talk to you earlier before the show, you told me some very fascinating things. You know, I've always heard about errors, but I've never heard about fake coins. And you brought a couple of fake coins. Tell me how old they are and the value that's in them.
Well, those coins are both dated in the 1880s. The one coin that you're pointing to now is a counterfeit. It looks almost identical to the one next to it, but the big difference is the rim. If you look at the rims, you'll see that the fake coin almost has no rim, and the genuine coin does.
Well, so they came from the same year. Tell me about the value of the fake coin. How much is it worth?
Well, it's only worth its gold content because they actually made the coin out of gold at the time. So it's basically worth about $50 to $100.
So what year?
About 1887, I believe.
1887, they were able to make that good of a replica.
Yes, they did.
And then how much is the real one worth?
Well, the real one's worth probably $200 to $300, depending on its rarity and condition.
Does this happen a lot that you discover forgeries?
Well, they are still out there. People still collect them, and I see them at the stores. But generally, if you have a trained eye, you can tell pretty fast if it's real or not.
Great. Tell me about the errors that you have brought here. Let's talk about the quarter right here. It's kind of it looks like you get a quarter and a half right here, about 30 cents with this little extra part.
Right. That's what we call an off strike. Obviously, it's been struck once and then struck again, and so that becomes a more difficult error to find than the typical blank planchets you see there.
You know, this was done in 1993, so that's not that long ago. How many of these misstrikes do you think happen and get released before they discover it?
Well, they're fairly rare because the mint doesn't like to get them out into the public, and so you only find a few in millions that they make. So they do have a tendency to go up in value.
Well, great. This coin that has no face, I would imagine it is a quarter, but what happened here? Well,
that coin, it's not actually a coin, it's a blank planchet. It got out of the mint without being struck. So it basically has not seen the presses. It was made that way, and then they store them in bins, and then they're fed into the machines, and then the machine actually strikes the coin. That one got out before it was actually struck.
And would you say probably more than one got out?
Oh yes, they're fairly common as far as coins are concerned because they make so many millions of different coins.
So how much is this quarter worth?
Oh, it's probably worth about $5 or $10.
Great. Do you know when this quarter happens? Is there any way of knowing that?
No, there's no way of dating it other than if it was reeded or not reeded. You can tell by what century it was made, by the materials that they used in the planchet itself.
Okay. And what are the materials that are used in quarters these days?
That's a modern quarter, so it has nickel on both sides and copper in the center. They call it cladding. It's the terminology they use for that particular kind of coin.
Okay. Just kind of like the quarter, we have a penny that's could be worth, it's a penny and a half. What happened with this one?
That's an off strike too. They are struck at different degrees. That one's fairly common as an off strike. It's about 90% off struck.
Is it possible for some employees to accidentally, maybe purposely, do some of these errors?
Well, I don't have any proof of that, but some of the errors I've seen actually can be addressed as made by somebody on purpose. It's almost impossible to do during the regular minting process.
In all the United States, what would you say in circulation is probably the most rarest coin right now? The mule dollar that they've made, since the Sacagawea dollar came out, they muled that with the back of that coin with the new state quarter George Washington front. And those coins have been found in circulation and sold at auction. And how much did they go for?
Right now they're bringing about $30,000 to $50,000, is about probably 5 to 10 known.
So, and do we think there's still more out there, or are we pretty sure that they've all been discovered?
Well, it was in the press quite a bit, so it's probably pretty much been checked over, but you never know. Could be.
I really appreciate coming in on the show right now with All Seas Collectibles in Aurora, Colorado. And I want to thank you, the viewer, for watching the show. And remember, everybody's trash, it has to be somebody's treasure. So keep collecting. Thank you very much for viewing us tonight. See you next week.